Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on your location. Glad to meet you all here through the iMotion events. My name is Zhang from China, Shanghai, Zhongjun Technology Consulting Company. I have more than 20 years experience for supplier development in different companies. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on your location. Glad to meet you all here through the iMotion events. My name is Zhang from China, Shanghai, Zhongjun Technology Consulting Company. I have more than 20 years experience for supplier development in different companies like Seagate Technology, an American company for hard disk drive, General Motors, I think you know it, Dell Computer, I think you also knew it, and SKF, I'm sure you know it. I had a small team and we cover several hundred suppliers in different countries in Asia. So I worked on many supplier development projects, many localization projects. And I would like to share with you some of my thoughts regarding supplier development. Well, supplier development is a big topic. Let's see the overview of supplier development. Say it can be in three aspects. They are quality, cost, and delivery. So we can do supplier development for different aspects. It also can be categorized in three phases. I mean timeline. The first one is from non-approved supplier to approved supplier. It is kind of development for supplier potential suppliers, means before mass production. The second one is after supplier approval. After in start of production, then different issue may happen at this supplier. So we need to get this supplier back on track. It is kind of also supplier development to keep the existing supplier at an acceptable level. The third one is about continuous improvement. I mean, supplier is good, but need to continue to reduce defects to achieve 6 Sigma level, 0 defect level, keep reducing cost to reach the cost target, keep increasing on-time delivery. So it is a journey from good to great, from acceptable level to the best level. And there are 6 elements for supplier development. They are man, machine, material, methods, measurements, and the environment. Normally, when we do root cause analysis, we do analysis from these 6 elements. And of course, we find some root cause there, and we need to work on them. That's a kind of development. So that's the overview of supplier development. And what happened in the new economy? We have a fierce competitive environment. We have less lower hanging fruit. I still remember when I joined General Motors 20 years ago. The sourcing target is to achieve 30% saving. And some of them even can achieve 50% saving. But look at today, it's very difficult to reach those numbers. So we have to do something different. One more thing is about supply chain. Today, the competition is not a competition between single companies. It is kind of supply chain competition. The company within the complete supply chain or a better supply chain can win the business. A single good company cannot win the business if the supply chain is not good enough. And we have more political constraints. I prepared this material actually started from end of last year or beginning of this year, but something more happened recently. I think you all know that. And need more local suppliers. It's local means within the location or within the same country, as near as possible. We have epidemic disease, COVID-19. It's already almost changed our life. We changed the way of living because of this epidemic disease. And we have 5G technology. It's a fast data exchange, wireless. We also have many apps for social contact. I mean, we can connect each other by phone very easily, exchange information, exchange file, or even exchange money. It's so easy and fast today. We have electronic commerce. We buy and sell products through internet. One more thing is a global shortage of electronic chips. It's become even worse recently, especially for automotive business. They have to reduce the output, etc., etc. So many changes in the new economy. Then how about supplier development? So I would like to share with you 3 points for supplier development process in the new economy. The first point is to change from supplier development to supply chain development. The second is to change from one common supplier development process to customized supplier development process. The third is to use network to do supplier development remotely. I will explain each point later in detail. The first point is to change from supplier development to supply chain development. It means, as what I mentioned before, this competition is between supply chain now. Then we need to identify the single weakness chain, quality, cost, delivery of the whole supply chain and work on it. For example, to develop key tier suppliers, not only the tier 1, you need to think about tier 2, tier 3. Of course, you cannot cover all of them. You find the weakest one and the key one. To develop a key outsourcing process, similar philosophy. Also, need to identify supplier development opportunities among chains and work on it. the point is to develop other, for example, supply information sharing system through supply chain to reduce unnecessary active stock to avoid interactive stock. Here is an example. We have company A for rings, company B for bearings, company C for engines. So this company A supply rings to company B supply bearings to company C. And what happened is the company C reduced the forecast and order and informed the company B. But company B did not inform company A for some reason. And the company A keep producing rings. It's a kind of special ring. And when they realize there's no more order for this kind of ring, I mean, those rings become inactive stock. And in the meanwhile, for company A, because they have inactive stock, they do not have enough money to buy raw material. But company B need another kind of ring from company A. So company A cannot meet the requirement for company B, and company B cannot supply to company C. So what we can see is in company A, there is a inactive stock and no money to buy raw material. Company B cannot get material for the new rings. Company C cannot get the material, I mean the new bearings. So that's just a mistake of information sharing. So see, if we have a common system shared with each companies, for example, if company C reduce forecast and orders, both company B and company A can see it, or even other tier companies. So this is kind of information sharing system. It's not a real one order system, but everybody can see this information. And through this information, they can track, they can fund, and they can adjust production. On one hand, they can reduce the inactive stock. They also can reduce unnecessary active stock, because the change is very frequent recently. Due to market demand, it's changed frequently. And if, for example, company A did not produce the something new rings, which is required by company C also can see it immediately, without involvement of company B. So if we have this kind of order supply information sharing system among chains, can reduce a lot unnecessary active stock and avoid inactive stock, or even reduce the, the stop of production. Another example is that some defects can be very easily detected at organization side after certain process, but very difficult at supplier side. Here's organization, I mean, they buy product from supplier. For example, bearing industry, sometimes we have crack on rings. But those crack is very difficult to detect after heat treatment. If you know, after heat treatment, no more the ring is stuck. But you know, the bearing company require ring company zero defect for the crack. So they spend a lot of money to do those kind of, they do visual inspection, they do MPI to try to detect those crack. And of course, those there is a cost for that, and the result is not good. It's because it's not effective. But as you know, if you are in bearing companies, after grounding, it's much more easier to detect the crack. But normally the grounding happened at the bearing company. So if you change this kind of detection at a bearing company, I mean after grounding, it's much more easier, and it saves the cost. It saves the cost of the chains. I mean, maybe you can pay less or to the ring maker, and then you add some cost to your own company to do inspection. So this is another example for the supplier development among chains, sorry. One more thing I would like to talk about is to avoid a single source from another country. It's so painful. It can kill a company. So I don't know if you have such kind of scenario, but if you please check, if you have something like this, try to avoid that, to develop the local supplier. Another point is to change from common supplier development process to customized supplier development process. I mean, you have supplier at a different level, but you just need to meet the requirement of market demand. Just need to meet to increase competitiveness. Means the requirement for different suppliers can be different. It's also because of the tough competition. The organization need to maximize the profit. Again, linked to the customer demand. For example, if we have a different customer have different requirements for the same product. Again, for bearing, I can have example. We have bearing for same bearing, but the bearing can be used for automotive business, or can be used for washing machine, air conditioners. The requirement is totally different. So the organization can have customized the product made by different material from different level suppliers. If you use common process for all suppliers, the organization will have over-development case and under-development case and lose competitiveness. So say, if you use supplier for automotive business, material for automotive business to produce bearing for washing machine, for air conditioners, think about it, you lose competitiveness. But to do it, it's not that easy. I mean, if you want to do it, the requirement for supplier development personnel is very demanding. This personnel need to understand the different requirements clearly and has knowledge to break down the different requirements to different process and different material from different level suppliers based on capability and stability. You want to use something different, but you must know the reliability of those differences. You know what will happen if you change material, if you change the supplier. So that's also a journey. It's not something can be done in one day, and also need some engineering test. And another thing, we all know it is difficult to travel recently due to COVID-19 and some other reasons, but the organization need to do audit, need to verify the process at the manufacturing site, need to do traceability study, root cause study on site when there is a critical quality issue. How to handle it? We can use network to work remotely. 5G technology is almost real-time control. We can use a network tool, online meeting, to do quality management system audit, Webex meeting, Zoom, Teams, for example. And we also can use remote video camera to verify the process at manufacturing site. Because you need to check for certain things then the camera can be your eyes. And even further, you can use network to track critical activities and critical process parameters for traceability purpose. For example, the heat treatment, there are many key process parameters, and some good heat treatment machine makers, they can connect all their machine and linked, and they can read the process parameter remotely. And they can also link that system to customer side, means the organization. Means the people from the organization can sit in office and track the heat treatment process parameter at their supplier. So they can track at a critical time, and if something happened, those data also can be used for traceability analysis. And this practice can also reduce travel time, reduce carbon emission, reduce cost. This practice can also build trust between organization and the supplier, because customers saw the process parameter directly, no doubt, for the real data. So basically, this is 3 points I would like to share with you. To summarize these 3 points, is to change from supplier development to supply chain development, to change from one common supplier development process to customized development process, to use network to do supplier development remotely. I think I know you cannot, I'm not sure if you can fully understand my point just through this about 20 minutes brief introduction. And we can have further discussion if you want. If you have question, feel free to contact me. And I hope you can reach your target through your supplier development. I mean, buyer can get the right supplier, and the supplier can get a good business. Thank you.